Hello, it's Jane here. I'm up at the plot at the end of June to bring you what I can only describe as a cautionary tale as to what happens if you only pay the bare minimum attention to your plot during what is perhaps one of the busiest growing parts of the year. So I think some of you are aware we've had a fairly turbulent few weeks, to say the least. So the plot itself has just been scraping by. We've been coming up to see to the chickens and get a little bit of watering in the greenhouse and the polytunnel and picking strawberries. But I mean, that's a necessity, isn't it? So everything else that you're going to see today, I can only apologise. Apologise as it is. I've been up twice today to the plot, and each time I've come up it's got so windy and so horrible and dark that I've actually gone home again, but the sun's out, so let's make the most of it. Okay, let's start up in the greenhouse. Well, if you watched my garlic harvest, I ended up by telling you that the next stop for the garlic was to store it in a cool, dry shed. And what happened then was, sorry if the camera is shaking, our turbulent times began, and let's just say it hasn't even made it out of the greenhouse where it was dumped that day. So yeah, I wouldn't advise that you dry your garlic in the greenhouse because it does get too hot, especially the temperatures we've had the last few weeks. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. There's no harm done. So they're there. Next to them we've got, just bits and pieces. Oh, I am quite excited about this though. Let me do this. Sorry about my shadow. Let's see if I can get you the other way around. Okay. You can see the basil is just scorched there, can't you? That is just, I mean, it'll still be okay. We'll plant it out, we'll pot it out, but yeah, that's because there's no shading in the greenhouse at all. But these, Rocky's decided to have a little winch. These are some dahlia cuttings that I took way too late, but they actually look like they're coming. If I lift, I think it might look like there might be a couple of roots there. Yeah, so never done that before. So dead excited about them. And like I say, these are bits and bobs and things that need to go in, but we just have not had the time at all to get up here and do anything. So I am very pleased though to see the chilies starting on our cayenne pepper here. So there we go, that looks nice. And also the only other thing we've got growing in here really, we've got a very late aubergine, or as our neighbour calls it, anchovy. And the other chilli, this is the jalapeno, I like saying that, the jalapeno chilli, which again is getting a few little peppers on. So yeah, not a lot going on in here apart from what's not supposed to be going on. So let's go and look in greenhouse number 2. Here we go. That is how quickly a grapevine can take over your greenhouse, because I think it was only a couple of weeks ago that I cut all the straggly bits off. So yeah, this is going to have to get another prune, if only to let me in the greenhouse. The coriander that is self-seeded amongst the tomatoes has flowered, and I'm going to move it. I think I'll leave them to go to seed, you know, and collect some seed and use that. But then in here, as before, look, there's a tomato over there, needs picking up and staking. Look, I haven't even got the stakes in my tomatoes yet. I've got the sun gold tomatoes down here. I've got a mix of cucumbers and squash that still need to be put outside. The squash do down here. And then if we battle through, like David Bellamy, there we are, show my age there. I'm going to go on the floor. There we are. There we are, that's a better shot, isn't it? We've got peppers and chili peppers down either side, and also at the ends in pots. So I'm not quite sure why we've got so many peppers this year, but they're doing very well, and we've even got some interplanting of basil between them. So yeah, a bit of a change to how the greenhouse usually looks this year, but still producing, still doing well. Oh, and look, I forgot to mention the aubergine. Look, they just have such beautiful flowers, very much like the potato flower, same family, but they are looking really good. So I'll be excited to see if we actually get some nice aubergines this year. Look inside the fruit cage, you can see that the autumn fruiting raspberries are really going for it now. They were underplanted with strawberries, but they've pretty much gone now. But look at this, these just look like jewels. These are the red currants that I was waiting to turn black until I realised they're actually red currants. But look at those. Oh my goodness, they are just beautiful things. Black currants are few and far between. Maybe something to do with my pruning, but we did get a fair few last year, so maybe it's just having a bit of a rest year. But then if we carry on around here, the red gooseberries are also doing well. Maybe it's the colour red. Not quite ready to pick yet. They're not quite falling off in my hand. But the lovely thing is, with them being in the fruit cage, I haven't got to worry too much about them being got by the birds. Not unless someone leaves the cage door open, because last year nearly all our gooseberries disappeared by Mr. Blackbird, by his little antics. So yeah, these are going to be really lovely. Look at those. Okay, and we've got the green ones as well. I don't know if it's that we haven't got as many green ones, or whether it's just they don't show up as much. I think with the red they do show up. So, but yeah, goosegogs on the way. Still no flowers on the early blueberry though, and this has been getting loads of water, so yeah, maybe it's not quite an early one, maybe it's a later early one, if that makes any sense. Still looks better than it did last year though, so in being in a pot is suiting it a lot more. Move to this bed. You can see the self-seeded cosmos is doing very, very well coming up through the onions, and I've got a few red onions that haven't bulked up much on this side, but if we go and have a look at these, the stems are starting to fall now, and that isn't going to be too long before we start pulling these. Once, I think another week, 2 weeks, depending on the weather. If we're going to get a whole amount of rain, then they'll come up earlier, but yeah, I think we're going to have some good sized onions there, which will be great. Moving on to the arch, look, this is one of the things that needs doing. One of the growing list of things that need doing. This is the blackberry, that's meant to be up here. Look, on that arch. But actually the ones that are tied in are producing some very nice looking flowers. So I'm looking forward to some nice succulent gooseberries off there. Gooseberries, Jane, what are you talking about? Blackberries, that's the one. Blackberries off those. So we'll see if we get them before Mr. Blackbird does. This is the bed where the blueberries were, and to be honest, we just filled it up with odds and sods of potatoes that we had left. And although I know that one of them was pink fir apple, grow it if you've never grown it before, it's delicious. We've got no ideas what the others are, because although they were all labelled, the writing's washed off. So yeah, these are just potatoes. Let's call this bed a potato surprise. Okay, but all looking healthy. My goodness, you see, this is one of those areas I shouldn't really show you, but this is life. It's very, very weedy, which is the one thing you don't want to have between your onions. But I've still got hope that, oh, let's have a look. These onions down here are my electric onions. Now, Rue from Rue's Life, she swears by these. She's had brilliant crops from them before. So we'll see how they come. Obviously, they would benefit by a little bit of a tidy up. But yeah, we've put them in. And then next to them, we've got the broad beans, excuse my shadow again, which we've taken a few from so far and had fresh. We've even had, when you take some of the pods off, sometimes one of the little pods comes off, and if you chop that up you can eat that as well. But yeah, some of them just haven't quite filled yet. That one has. You can tell if you press it and it's full. Yeah, that's perfect. There's no giving that. But I like to get them before they get absolutely packed full and start to go a little bit woody, these to me are the perfect size to get, and then you don't have to double pod them, you can just eat them as they are. So yeah, looking forward to a broad bean harvest in the next few days, I think. On this side we've got, let me show you closer up. We have got, I think that might be a patty pan squash, which is clearly taking over the middle. We've been harvesting this lettuce, which has really changed my mind about growing lettuce. It's gorgeous. The loose leaf stuff I'll show you in the polytunnel in a minute, I'm not so keen on, but this is just lovely. Look, we've got, even though I thought I'd taken all the self-seeded sunflowers out, we've still got one or two. So yeah, but mainly in here we've got the squash, and then we've got I can't remember the name of this, Golden Sunrise? No, Craigella, Ailsa Craig, it's a tomato. We've got 2 tomatoes in there, and at the back we should have, there it is, you see this one, we need to harvest that lettuce next. We have got a butternut squash, which is actually doing quite well, but it needs to start getting its act together and start climbing upwards, because I want that coming up here. So yeah, pretty much the same in the other bed. Oh, apart from, let me show you this. Sorry, I'm probably getting you very dizzy here. You know, everyone's picking their sweet peas at the moment and saying how beautiful they were. Well, there's mine. Yep, my sweet peas. I mean, bless them, I do think they're going to go. They've got their little tendrils on, they've kept going. I think once they start holding on to that and actually find something to climb, they'll be away. But yeah, it's not going to be quite as early as other people's. I've got hope that they'll come. And if we look at the other side of the arch here, I think this all needs a bit of a feed. You can see we've got a ladybird. Hello, ladybird. Hello, little friend. Beyond the ladybird, we've not only got a few flowers, but we've actually got a few baby courgettes. Woohoo! The strawberries have been fantastic this year. We've been picking them, as and when we can actually, but they've been going now for about 2 weeks and they are still coming strong. So much as they seem to shrink, look at this, I mean, this is just what you find, look, much as they shrink, the first ones are usually the biggest ones. There's still plenty there, plenty to pick. So yeah, they've been fantastic, and they're the sort of thing when you're up here you can just pick one and nibble them as you're going around doing the other garden tasks. So yeah, we're going to definitely be giving that another good pick over the next day or two. Planted by the moon peas that were kindly donated to me by Neil over at Neil Wilson's No Dig Garden are doing really well. We've picked a few pods. The taste of fresh peas straight from the pod, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but we have got loads coming on there, and then next to them, slightly behind, we have got a whole load of, to be honest, what looks a bit of a mess of, Rocky's enjoying them though, of giant mange-tout, which are just starting to flower now. So yeah, going to be picking them very, very shortly. Speaking of giant mange-tout, excuse me, Rocky, if you remember, I've put in the Train Driver Mountain Range peas that Paul Savadunk really kindly sent me after I've lost my last 2 harvests to various ailments and mice, and he sent me them, and within a week, 2 weeks, they'd been nibbled right to the ground. Wouldn't you just look at this now? They have come back so healthy. Although, can you see the problem? I covered them in this netting to stop the pigeons getting at them, but what's happened now, of course, is they're all attaching themselves to the netting, aren't they? So yeah, what would you do? Should I attempt to take the netting off now and risk them becoming the pigeons' dinner, or should I just leave it on and worry about how to actually get to the mange-tout after they've grown. What do you think? I don't know. Over here we've got sweet corn, and I've left the self-seeded nasturtium to just wend its way through there. That's all looking quite healthy. And then over here we've got our 2 rows of beans. One side's doing much better than the other. We've got the runners on this side, so you can see here I've got big gaps, and that's my Madeira maroon, and further down more gaps, which is my gigantes. So I need to make sure I put a few more of those in until it's just too late. And then at the front here we've got borlotti. Oh, again, quite a few gaps in the borlotti. Oh, this side's not doing very well at all. But the Scarlet Emperor, as ever, is doing really, really well. So yeah. And then on this side, this Golden Gate bean. Again, I haven't grown it before, but Paul very kindly sent it to me. It's a good job we've got plot friends, isn't it? Because that is doing really, really well down there. And then behind that we've got the Blauhild and the something that I can't remember what it is. Madeira maroon. No? Maybe. No, not. Don't know what it is. But yeah, looking much healthier than the other side. So the beans here, we've got all kinds of cabbage, including the lovely Calabos lettuce, which I was raving about last year. It's such a gorgeous tight head and a really quite a sweet flavour. So that's all doing really well in there. Again, cupboard, we're not taking any chances. And then in this one here, we've got our kale, which includes the red kale, and we've got something called, Mike says it's called Candy Crush. Oh, here we are, let's have a look. I think it was called Candy Stripe, but I might be getting mixed up with something else. I'll show you in a minute. Let me just show you. And we got this from the Gardener's World live show at the end of the day when they're getting rid, let me show you, of all the all the fruit, all the veg out of their show gardens. Look at that. What a treat that is. So that was just dug up and transplanted as soon as we got home, and I think you'll agree it's quite a stunner. And then the other pickings from the Gardener's World show, which were these. You see, these are called Candy Stripe. Oh, or are they called peppermint? Or are they called peppermint candy? I don't know. But look at the stems on that chard. Isn't that beautiful? It is still re-establishing itself. It was literally dragged out the ground at the Gardener's World live show and put in a big bucket of water and then thrown in. But yeah, I think that's going to keep going all summer. But yeah, I've not seen those colours before. We usually grow the rainbow chard. I just thought that was really, really pretty. And if I just show you quickly behind the bean plot, this was carrots and spinach, but the carrots are now very few and far between and the spinach has bolted. So this is perhaps the least successful part of the plot so far. But if we look behind where Mike's little dancing fairies have been put, we've actually got quite a good crop of beetroot coming. Behind that we've got more carrots, but the shallots have done really, really badly. I'll show you. Okay, we're not sure why, but they just completely started to flop at the neck. They haven't got rot. If you dig them up, they're actually quite clean, but yeah, for whatever reason, they just haven't done very well. So that was a bit disappointing, but never mind, you live and learn. And really, you know, shallots, they're just small onions. And next to them, excuse my shadow, we have got more potatoes. And what's interesting about this, actually, it's rocky. It's Rocky's bottom. No, what's interesting about this is, again, we have got some self-seeded sunflowers. Try saying that after a glass of wine. Just here. Now, I thought, and I think it's probably going to happen, sunflowers and potatoes are really bad plants to have next to each other. They are bad companions because there's something in the roots of the sunflower that is allopathic. Is that a word? Have I made that up? Anyway, whatever it is, it takes the nutrients away from the potatoes. So I'll be interested to see how the potatoes next to the sunflowers fare compared to the ones at the far end here. So there's not a lot of difference in how they look at the minute, apart from they look very dry. Sorry, Rocky, what's that? Have you got an opinion? No. And in the polytunnel, it's exactly what you would expect, really. I am not showing you the melons because I'm going to do a little update on them next week. But yeah, these are basically the tomatoes that have survived on neglect and a tiny bit of water. So literally, they haven't been tied up, they haven't been side shooted. That is a great big job that I'm going to be doing in the next day or two. But if I show you the effect that little water and very high temperatures has on my flea beetle project. That's a bit of a warning to you, isn't it, really? I mean, the thing is as well, look, it's completely dried out. As someone pointed out, that was a lot of plants to have in a very small amount of soil anyway. But yeah, it's gone to seed and it's had to make do with, let's see what the hottest temperature has been in here. It has been 45 degrees, which is 113 degrees Fahrenheit in here. So yeah, I'm not sure I'd be flowering after such hot temperatures, but bless it, we gave it a go. And I've learned that next time I do it, don't put too much seed in and water it off. And I'll tell you what though, the flea beetle never got to it. So that way I could call it a success. And I know someone was asking if I would just show you the drainage on the other side of the polytunnel. Last year Mike put up a drain pipe on the far side and led it into a bucket, and we've used it all the time. So he's done exactly the same this year on the other side. So whenever it rains, we can harvest the water from that roof. I don't know if you can see both the buckets there. You can see that one's in use. Okay, but yeah, it's really, really useful to do. So do think of any of your roofs or your shed roofs or anything that you've got that you can harvest water from, because it doesn't half save you a trip to the tap. There we have it, June tour 2022. Let me take the chair. Yeah, not exactly as planned, but nothing ever does go to plan, does it? Life inevitably gets in the way. So actually, it might look really messy. I know there's things that need doing. I'm hoping now that we're going to have a return to some sort of normality. Or what we call normal anyway, and we'll be able to get on with the jobs. I'm actually really looking forward to getting here and getting things straightened out. But what's good is things are just still producing. They are still producing willy-nilly. I mean, those strawberries, I've got them in the freezer, I've got them in the fridge, I'm eating them when I'm up here. I'm giving them to friends and neighbours. I've never ever made strawberry jam. So I did ask over on the Facebook group if anyone had any recipes, and I haven't got it with me. Annette pointed me towards Marguerite Patton's Basic Chutneys and Preserves, I think something like that. It's only a few pounds, so I sent off for it, and it's exactly the sort of book I like. It's dead straightforward, dead simple, just like me. So I'm looking forward to, giving strawberry jam a go. So yeah, let me know if you've done it before. I haven't included some of the things that I normally would have done, because again, a few weeks ago, before everything kicked off, I asked over on the Facebook group if anyone had any questions for me to answer while I was up at the allotment, and I had a really good response, and I can only apologise that I've not had the opportunity to get up here and respond to them as yet. But some of the things I was asked about kept popping up as I was wandering around, so I am going to do a separate video on that. So yeah, maybe in the next week or two we'll be able to. And the reason I'm stroking Lady Mary at such a strange angle, although she doesn't seem to mind, is I've got my mic in this pot. I'm a little bit worried it's going to go askew, so I'm going to put it, where shall I put it? Let's take this out. I don't know. There we are. Hope you can't hear me now. It's ever so windy. It's really, really windy, so I hope this little fluffy thing on the top is doing its job properly. But yeah, so it does just show things do survive. I mean, people go away and leave their pots for a couple of weeks to go on holiday, and they come back and most things are dead. But at least things aren't dead, they're still coming, and we're early enough in the season to be able to sort of catch up. So yeah, let me know what you've been up to. What do you think you are doing best at this year so far, and what have you had any disasters yet? Let me know. I think our disasters would probably be the shallots, but like I say, I'm not a shallot person. Mike likes putting them in, but to me they're just a bit, I don't like pickled onions, so I'm not going to do them for that reason. And Mike just likes them, I don't know, they're very nice roasted and caramelised and things like that, but I'd rather have an onion. If you haven't been to the Facebook group, they're magpies. I don't know if the mic's picking them up, but they're going round and round. They're desperate for some strawberries. If you haven't been along to the Facebook group, do come along and say hello. We've got a lovely, lovely group of people there who can help you and jolly you along in your gardening ventures. Come along to Instagram, where I put pretty pictures up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Please consider subscribing, because it really, really helps the channel. And click the notification bell and let me know. It lets me know that people are watching, and it'll let you know when a video goes up. Sorry, Rocky's just walked through the tripod. So, hello Rocky, he's come to see Mary. I would not leave them alone together, don't worry. But he does like to sniff her bottom, don't you? It's a bit of a greeting, isn't it? There you go. Yeah, so I'm just relieved in a way to get June out of the way. It's horrible, isn't it? It sounds like I'm wishing my life away, and I'm not, but I want to start getting back to what I enjoy best, and that is pottering about in my allotment, hugging a chicken and giving Mike a list of jobs to do in the background. So yeah, do let me know how you're getting on. I hope you're all well. Please put a comment below, so yeah, again, I know that you're watching, and I'm going to leave it at that, because I've got to be honest, I'm a bit knackered. So I'm going to go now and leave you to it. Take care, everyone. See you soon.